RichPodcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the How to Be Rich podcast, rich in health, wealth, and everything else dealing with the self. My name is Jason Thomas, and today I'm here with my cousin, Jordan. How you doing, bro?
Oh, man, I'm doing amazing. It's so great to be up here finally again, seeing you.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, man.
How you been doing, bro?
I've been doing all right. Could be doing a little better, but, I mean, we're striving for greatness out here.
Yeah,
we're just
bro.
trying to be better every day.
So I wanted to have you on the podcast because I feel like, first of all, our conversations are just
We always
good.
get some deeper level of meaning behind it, whether it's just between us or, I mean, finding shit in the universe. I mean, oh, man. We always find answers. It's awesome.
Exactly, bro. And yeah, you've been tuning into a few of the podcast episodes too.
Yeah.
So, and I was literally thinking like, oh, you're sliding down here. We're doing a podcast. I didn't even tell you. I was just
Man,
like, let's just do
this
it.
time, I kind of figured it was coming because, I mean, well before this stuff even came about, like, man, we'd always chill when we would, like, barely even get the time to hang out and whatnot when,
Yeah.
you know, we lived far away. But, I mean, we were always just on that next level, like, hitting off each other and bouncing ideas.
Yeah. Tell the people a little bit about your background, just for the ones who don't know, right?
Well, I've lived in Iowa my whole life. Like, it's kind of, you know.
Lamar's, Iowa. How many,
yeah.
like, people is that? How many people are out there?
We're the ice cream capital of the world, so it's not like we're nothing, but we pretty much are. We're right next to nothing. We got a good, I don't know, probably 10, 15,000 people in the town. It's just, I mean, everybody knows everybody. It's like, eventually it gets annoying. Like, you got to escape sometime.
Right.
Like,
And I mean, we've been talking a lot
yeah.
about how you might move to Minneapolis just
even some visions, plans, and everything. Like, you know, if you don't feel like you're in the right place or anything, you just feel something off. Like, something's probably off. Like, your body's trying to tell you stuff and things
Right.
like that. And really, I had trouble like listening. I had so much trouble listening to that, and like I've helped see that through therapy and just like a few things, like writing some things down, and like, I mean, just simple stuff like that, just meditation, prayer, like even you'll get answers. Like it's all real. It's all
and
amazing.
I think, yeah, that, like, even your predicament right now can apply to a lot of people who aren't satisfied
Definitely.
where they're at.
I mean, like, there's countless kids, like grown-ups out there, everybody of all ages, like, feels like they're in that trench. Like, they'll never get their chance out, or like, you know, even like the part where I knew I needed to probably change something was I always had those dreams as a kid, and those kind of stopped coming in because I knew those dreams weren't really going to work out. Like,
Damn.
you know, I always go like be a basketball player, professional basketball player for like the Hawkeyes, you know. My group of buddies are like go play football, like, you know, well, I'll just be mobbing like through the cities and stuff, go out and just have like the best time with each other, you know, push yourself to be better. And like, I mean, obviously I was a really small kid, like I was always small size and whatnot, you know, we were runts, like I just, like, sports wasn't going to work out that way, and I kind of stopped setting my sights towards, like, further, just out there further when I realized that wasn't going to happen. I mean, I kind of lost myself, really.
Man, you said when those dreams stopped coming in, you knew you were in the wrong spot. Dude,
Well-
I resonate with that shit because I think, like, everyone has, like, their inner child. And, like, if you're not in touch with, like, your inner child, like, what you were kind of like growing up,
Yeah.
I feel like that can lead to...
You definitely lose yourself. Like, that's the easiest way to put it. You just lose sight. Like, you lose sight of who you're supposed to be or who you feel like you're supposed to be, like what your calling is and everything. Like, I mean, and that's what it was. And I stopped dreaming for a long time. Like, looking back now, and like, it was always like a lot of kids don't know what they want to do with their lives either. And I was definitely in that same boat. I went and tried IT stuff at Iowa Central and Fort Dodge for a semester. And, like, you know, when you go to school for something like IT work, that is your craft. You need to work better to be better at your craft.
Right.
Like, you know, like, that's a service that you can sell. Like, obviously, you're going to want to strive to be better in that. And I didn't have that. And, like, I realized that, and I'm like, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I didn't have that greater kind of strive to do it. And I've never been a student. I've never been a good student, that is. Like, I can learn stuff if you keep me interested. You just have to keep the attention.
Man.
And it's so hard. Like, but even, like, that's where I feel like our schools kind of messed up was, I feel like as a kid, I was never taught that you have to find it within yourself to really apply the learning and everything in, like, on every level, like, of your mind, like, spiritually. Like, you have to see the deeper meaning to it other than just like, oh, why am I learning, like, y equals mx plus b,
Right.
how to problem solve, they say. But I mean, still, that much useless shit, come on.
Exactly. And I feel like for me, like to keep me interested in something long term, I have to see like the long term,
Oh, yeah.
like the full picture, right? Like you said,
Definitely.
and even like I feel like if the knowledge isn't applied, then it's useless knowledge.
Yeah.
Like if I never see myself applying what I was learning in school,
Oh, no.
like I never did, to be honest. And like that's
Cool.
why I literally, dude, when I was in school, I was checking out hard.
You were checking out. Guess what? My senior year, I had 80 absences per quarter.
Holy shit, yeah. Nah, I didn't even go to school the last semester, bro.
Exactly,
my last
bro.
semester, I was
I didn't have
0
a
days.
choice. Like, I went to a Catholic school, so they were terrible about the hours. Our principal wasn't the best. He kind of had it out for a few kids. Later to find out why, but
Wait, why did he have it out for people?
they caught him drinking in the parking lot.
What?
Yeah, at a Catholic school. Can you believe that?
That's funny. Dude,
No,
I
it
feel
was-
like it low-key
it was
be like
pretty great.
that. Those type of schools.
It
where
was
it's-
it was pretty funny finding out. But I mean, give me some closure, honestly, because I mean, he tried to fail me like to no end.
Damn.
And whatnot. Like, he's one of those, like, you're never going to be shit in life, like
Mm.
all those. Like, I mean, I got a few of them, and it's like,
Yep.
whenever I get them, it's like, you don't want to be on the wrong end of that stick, man. It's like, it's better to just kind of level with people and just be flat about it and not just end on bad terms, because, like,
Yeah,
bro, you never know how it's going to turn out about
what
it.
that person's
Never
gonna
know
do.
how it's going to turn out later in
Yeah.
life.
I got my fair share of those too, dude. And
Yeah.
honestly, like,
oh, definitely, with how far you've come, I can only imagine how many people have
Bro.
just doubted,
yeah,
and
and just even like
preyed on the downfall and everything.
100%. And even now, it's like, bro, like I feel like people who say that type of shit, it's really a reflection on them.
Oh, for sure. Their insecurities and everything in life. Like, I've been insecure about so much like that, but it was like always about like how small I was and everything like that. It wasn't until kind of like high school where I got taller and everything, because I was always really short and like just tiny. I've never weighed over 150 still.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a 6 foot like farm kid.
Right.
Like, I was a farm boy growing up pretty much, like compared to a lot of other kids. And I still lived in town, but grandpa had the farm and whatnot. And I always go out and help him whenever I can. I love it. Like, that's something I still want to like do someday. Like, I could see myself taking over the farm, but like, I gotta expand my options, because like our generation, I feel like I've heard it before. Like, it's our generation statistically worse like than any other generation before us. I
How
could
so?
see it in some similarities, but the main similarity that I've picked out and like saw through my own eyes was that, you don't just like, you're not like, you don't have that girlfriend like halfway through school, like they always had that. They always found their girl back in school. They were together for kind of ever.
Yep. In the previous
They
generation.
just kind of settled. First of all, they have 10 kids or something like that. You saw grandma and grandpa, like, bro.
Yeah.
How many kids
do they have? Like 8, like 9, or some shit like that.
Enough.
Yeah,
enough.
Well,
Like,
their
and
parents
that's even
had,
just
like,
like having
fucking-
cousins and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, even like realizing that outlook was like, bro, my kids aren't gonna have like any cousins. Like, like we had. I felt bad about that as like a kid. I was like, bro, I cherished us like our time like with all of my cousins like so much, like, because
Yeah.
I've always had like, I've always wanted to chase after that, like, people like you and like, the bros and whatnot, like, which you can't, it's hard to find in Iowa, people like you and whatnot. It's a small town, and to help you to be better, like, that's why you try to find people like you, because
yeah.
you surround yourself with the wrong people, it's going to show over time the toll that it's going to take on you and everything, whether it's mental health or just like physical health. I mean,
That's real.
it's definitely real.
Yeah.
And you got to see that, or else you'll become completely oblivious to it and just get sucked right in.
Yeah. And I feel like one thing about living in such a small town, or even just being in like a small environment, is like there's not many options to expand your friend group outside of what
Oh
it
no,
is.
friend group definitely not.
And even people who live in the cities have trouble with that too. I mean,
definitely. And if I move to the city, like, I'm gonna have trouble with that. I know I'm gonna have trouble with that. Like, it's just meeting people and whatnot. A lot of people have problems with that. Like, when I went to college, like, that was one of the reasons I didn't do too well. Is my roommate off the bat was like completely opposite from me as a person. Like, I liked him and everything. Like, we were really cool, but like, I'd come home and he's playing like the most country hick stuff you could imagine. Like, I'll listen to some country music every now and then just because some vibes. Like, you'll get flown some good country vibes. Like, gets the blood going. But if you're listening to that stuff that makes you fall asleep, that talking about the honky tonk and just like man, catch me passing on
you're
that.
from Iowa, but you're not. Yeah, like you're
Yeah.
not listening to that shit
You
24/7.
catch me in the tractor listening to some, like, we're in the streets in the tractor.
Yeah, that's like, bro. There's
But
certain
that's how the
music for
youth
different
is now, dude.
vibes.
That's just how the music has influenced our, like, youth. Like, I feel like when I want to listen to music, I gotta have some rhythm. I gotta get hyped. I gotta have some bars. I gotta have some flow. It's really just gotta be like what mood you're in. I feel like when I lift more, I like to try and listen to some metal, rock, and everything like that.
Sure.
Just some like music that really wants you to bring out your raw strength. That's how you grow yourself, like working out and stuff like that. You gotta bring out your raw strength. You gotta give your everything. Like,
yeah. And I think, bro, like when I'm studying, I listen to classical music because that enhances my studying experience.
I could see
when I'm
that.
dancing, I listen to Spanish music because that enhances my
Yeah.
dancing experience.
Oh yeah.
And it's just different things for different scenarios. And I feel like I also use that in terms of people too. Like even when I'm hanging out with like a certain set of friends, it's like I like put things in categories. It's like, okay, we can turn up, and then it's like certain friends, like I love to fucking go party with.
Oh yeah.
Certain friends,
It's the energy that they provide though. Like it's all energy, reading energies, like
Exactly.
feeling energy. But you gotta be in the right mindset to like do that stuff too. Like pull up and like know that you're gonna have a good time, because like I'll have that where I'm like, I know I'm gonna have a good time this weekend, and finger quotations, like, but really that night comes and I'm like, don't really feel that good for it, and I don't really want to get messed up that night or go out and have a good time. Like you gotta be in the right mindset, and that's like everything from like how you're treating your body, like healthy wise, like what you eat, what you put in your body, and like what you do on a day-to-day basis for physical activity and everything like that,
bro. Yeah. And like, bro, health is such an important thing, bro. Like that's
every
something that
aspect of it.
that's been like my new number one priority, because like
Like you've helped me find that, like you've helped show me like, what am I doing? I really need to care about my health a lot more, like even from like listening to previous podcasts and like seeing about all this bad crap and like the food nowadays, and like just straight McDonald's, Walmart, like Gatorade, like the red 5, like the yellow 36, stuff like that, like
the dyes,
the dyes that are like, what reason is that? Like there's no reason that it's not banned.
shit's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, no, like
But it sucks because like everyone drinks this, and it's like, how can you like
it's
subtly
everywhere.
push the message, but like not kind of flame them somehow, like it's because they'll take it to offense somewhat, like they think it's about something else,
bro. So our uncle Tony, he works for General Mills, and he actually develops like cereals, right?
Yeah.
And certain cereals have like different dyes in them, because like like Fruity Loops, they got fucking different coloring and shit. And bro, he was upset because he saw the clip where I was basically saying like, I threw away all my cereal. I was like, it's just fucking poison, gives you cancer.
That's more the way he is though. I feel, I'm gonna cut this out. That's more the way he is, because he did that to Riley in dog food. Riley, my sister, trained veterinarian, like went through schooling and everything like that. He was telling her and shit that she's just in it for the money and shit like that.
Really?
She's in such a terrible job right now. Like I get paid way more than her, benefits and everything, and she's in fucking like $100,000 in debt because like she got into some prestige school at NDSU. She wasn't like too good at school either, like for her first 2 years of high school, but then she like kind of realized like, she's got to kick it into gear, figure out that she wants to do something, and like, she's always loved animals, and like, I mean, everybody loves animals. I feel like, well, not everybody, but like everybody in our family, like we've always had.
I mean,
that
if you don't like animals, you're kind of, there's something wrong with you,
Yeah, there's a deeper meaning behind that. I don't know, but
for sure.
But I mean,
no, and I love Tony. Tony's amazing.
Yeah,
and I think it's important though to be able to like disagree with someone, but
you
still
have to have that just to grow your mind. Like you have to see the other side, and if you're completely shut yourself off from that, think about asinine that is. Just like, no, I'm not even gonna hear your point. Like, it's like you have no clue what they're gonna say to like change your mind. Like even if I don't like you, I'm gonna have to listen to you no matter what. I shouldn't say no matter what your opposing point is, because it depends what you're starting out with. If I'm gonna freaking if I'm gonna care about what you have to say at all, like. You can tell when they're just starting to talk out of their ass. But
for sure. No, there's definitely that doesn't apply to every single thing.
A lot of people have that problem though, just seeing the other side of it, especially in society today. You could compare that with any issue, whether it's from freaking racism or like jobs and shit like that. Like how it was with Riley, because like it was something, they were putting something in their dog food.
And for people who don't know, Riley is Jordan's sister.
Yeah. Like we aren't even supposed to be feeding our animals dog food or like just cat food like that. Like they're supposed to be eating meat and stuff like that. That's why you see on all these Alaskan shows where they have the freaking racing dogs, they're feeding them fish.
Yeah, no,
like,
real.
Yeah,
bro. What did like wolves eat back in the day? Fucking
exactly. Anything.
Yeah,
like,
everything.
Anything in the dog food.
What do the coyotes, wild coyotes around here eat? Fucking bunnies and shit.
Yeah.
I assume.
Oh my gosh! And
Yeah.
any sort of wildlife that they can get their hands on, including like garbage and shit like that.
Yeah,
and like
for sure.
when they can't find food, that's when they start going to children and shit. Like,
Bro,
I've seen a few videos where they're starting to get really cocky and.
Bro, the person who invented dog food, I remember seeing a thing on this.
I know what you're talking about because I was it's on the tip of my tongue, but like I can never really remember those.
Yeah, recall the
It's
specific.
so hard to remember those specifics of all these things, and that's always like the kicker for people. If you can't remember that specific, then like your point is just whatever.
Exactly, but like the person who invented dog food, everyone thought he was a fucking idiot because it's like, bro, like it's like, oh, feed your dog. Like the advertising was oh, your dog is sophisticated if it eats dog food and shit.
I know that it was something like that Rockefeller issue where it was like he's big in one industry and he took over this dog food or just started making this dog food like just completely steered it this way.
I don't know the specifics behind this. I'll state that right now. I didn't do background research.
More research
I'll pop it on the screen though, like the advertising for the dog food. Boom. Yeah. This was the first ever dog food created and what it looked like.
Yeah, no, we're gonna find something that we could put on the screen to show them what we should be feeding dogs compared to what like we actually give dogs. Like,
yeah, I mean we should feed dogs like meat and shit.
That's
like,
their diet. Like they're
like raw meat and fish. Yeah, I mean that's what I would ideally like to feed my dog, but I'm on a budget. But I mean,
I'm a huge hunter. Hunting is like a huge aspect of my life.
Talk about that, yeah.
And I mean, I just grew up in it. A lot of people hate hunting. That's where we came from. Like we literally would not be here without hunting. We still hunt to this day. Like whether it's to kill our food or whether it's to like grow your vegan crap. Guess what? You're still dumping eons of chemicals on all of these fields, and think of the wind and what other weather that's just blowing it all over. Think of all the erosion in the water that's just
that shit goes all in the water and
right into the water. Cows eat that are in the pastures now, so now it's starting to become full circle, and our own food that we're growing, like grandpa's cows and stuff like that, its creeks aren't the best shape anymore like that because there's so much runoff of just chemicals and everything else like that. Like people think like this vegan shit is just gonna like skyrocket. Your like fields of chemicals and whatnot compared to my one arrow and one animal that I like use everything on.
Exactly.
Or like put towards some sort of use, whether it's the hides. Like there's some guy down in Sioux City that he takes these hides, like these deer hides as donations, and he'll make coats for veterans. Like
that's tight.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think like bro, like hunting is literally like you said where we came from.
Oh my gosh, like it is such a deeper connection, like with everything else from nature, like from the higher power that's out there. That, I mean, none of us, like, you can think whatever it is, like God or like Buddha. Like, I mean, it's all the same. Like, there's a higher power out there, and like you can kind of feel that within yourself, whether you like get trippy or like, have some like serious shit happen in your life, where like a near-death experience, like where it really just kind of. Like, it shows you, like, that's... A lot of people have these near-death experiences, and it turns their lives around and stuff like that. And I've always thought, like, I really need one of these. I've felt like I've always kind of need one. I've had a few of them, like a bullet flying past my head this last fall. That was fun.
Whoa.
Some guy was shooting a muzzleloader at the backdrop of the tree that I was sitting above.
Holy shit.
Some deer coming in right in front of me. I was like, this is my chance. This is finally my chance. All these hours I'm putting in. All of a sudden, I start hearing some gunshots. I'm like, what the hell? I thought they were shooting at the deer. And then all of a sudden I had one go, like, it was head level with me. It was like a few feet, like, away from my head.
Holy shit.
Like the cleanest, like, whiz ever. I just immediately, like, dropped. I was flipping shit. Like, it's hard. Like, I've hunted my whole life, and I've had a few instances, like, where I've had, like, seen the flash of a gun barrel. I've had to get behind a hay bale or something, just like see it, or not see it, but hear it, like, kind of go by. But it wasn't as close as this one.
So made the bullet actually went right past your head?
Yeah. It was, like...
Why were they shooting at you?
Feet away from me.
Holy shit.
No, they weren't really shooting. They had no clue I was down there. They were sighting in a muzzleloader for, like, deer season the next day. Except they know that I hunt down there and everything like that, and... It was evening. They hunt. Like, they kind of know. It's on the river. They should have known. That's all I got to say. And, oh, man, that screwed with me. Like, even, like, because we go shotgun hunting, it's, Iowa has a shotgun season. You can't use rifles, so we'll do, like, a bunch of deer drives and stuff like that, push some woods, and like that's always like the type of hunting I was introduced as, and like, oh my gosh, that's the real fitness. Like that's the real shit I love. Like apart fitness, like I don't do much like longevity stuff like that. Like running, like I want to get into running so much now because of the podcast and everything from like all the benefits I just hear, and like it's a no-brainer. You wake up in the morning, you go run freaking 3-4 miles. All right, yeah, you're right. The rest of the day isn't gonna be shit. What are you talking about?
Literally, like, yeah. Imagine like fucking running 4 miles in the morning with like a rifle and then fucking killing some shit and coming home.
But there's so much more nerves with that. Like I was always, as a kid, like I always had nerves with it. Just, I mean, deer's a bigger animal. Like it's, bigger than me. Like pretty much every deer I've killed like has been bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like so, I mean, of course you're gonna have like a bit more nerves and whatnot with that, but like just the part where it's, to me, it just gets me is when we go down south. Like it's just the vibes. Like, oh my gosh, we wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock, drive down there, like eat breakfast, and then we'll start driving into the mountains as like sun rises, and we'll see just hundreds of deer in every field. And like another reason for hunting, like we actually care about these animals. Like we're not just going out and ruthlessly killing them. On this drive here, you don't like. All I was looking for was like wildlife and everything like that. I freaking love wildlife so much and stuff like that, and I go out and hunt them. Like people would just like say that they're just like, oh,
you don't give a fuck about the animals and shit. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I spend hours of my time, like endless time, like walking so far, put endless amounts of money into it just to get a chance at like seeing this animal or like getting a shot opportunity or anything. Like I'd like take months out of the year, like put trail cameras up and like. How much money I've had like shit stolen from me and stuff like this. It's not like you got to see some sort of return out of it to like, keep going back. Like you got to see some sort of.
I would try it for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm going to make you try it. You don't even have a choice, but
bro, I'm going to take like the Native American aspect where like I respect the animal and I use its horns and its fucking eyes and shit and eat the eyes.
And honestly, if you don't do that, like there's a lot of people out there that's trophy hunting like that, and like my dad always said that like as a young age, like we could tell who was trophy hunting and who was just like in it for meat. Actually, like we were like, because I mean we do it for meat. Like that's a lot of. We'll mix it with deer meat and bacon, and oh my gosh, we started doing that recently.
So you just kill the deer and mix it with bacon?
We'll butcher it and everything. We'll clean up the meat and then we'll send it to a locker, and then we'll have them mix it with bacon, and then we'll get like ground meat back. We'll get sticks, jerky. We'll get.
What does deer
brats.
taste like? Like relative to like another food that I would eat, like because I've never actually had like deer.
It's so hard to describe. I feel like I'm not good at describing stuff like that, but I mean, if you've never tasted like a game taste, like
game taste,
you can tell the game taste just by like when you taste it. You're like, oh, that's a game taste. Like that's
something fresh type shit.
Yeah, and like that's just how gamey the meat is. Like I almost want to look this up. Like what deciphers how game a meat is really, like how gamey a meat is. Like whether it's. Do you feel better eating like hunted food versus like a fucking McChicken from McDonald's or some shit? Oh, definitely feel better, but I mean like that's just the taste and everything. It's like a lot better, but
okay,
like leftovers and everything of that. Like
what does deer rank on like your favorite of meats?
Deer actually has been my favorite food for a long time.
That's your favorite food?
Bacon wrapped deer loin. So we'll take the back straps of the deer loin, so like where your spine is, like the muscles like on both sides of your spine is the back strap, and you cut that out and just get a huge chunk of meat, like usually a good sized chunk of meat. Like we'll kill some like big bodied deer, like people that are going after like trophies and stuff, they'll chase after antlers and whatnot, or just the biggest that they could find, which a lot of the times is damn hard to find. Like we hardly see any of them. Like we just go for like big bodied animals, and like it's their time to go. Like it's an ecosystem. Like if we don't kill them, they're going to die somehow.
Eventually,
just think of how they're going to die. Yeah. All right. EHD, like disease. They're going to get hit by a car. They're going to get killed by a pack of coyotes or something. Like die of old age, anything. Like half the meat's probably just going to sit there and rot. Like, and
I do think there is a difference of doing it for like the meat too, and just doing it just to.
Oh, for sure. Like
rack
that's a
head on the
mindset
wall.
and everything. That's like just how good of a person you are. I feel like, you know,
For sure.
just even like how you treat the animal after you've like dispatched of it and everything, or even just how you look at hunting in general.
And
Really.
I feel like most people though are disconnected from like the process of their meat.
They're way too disconnected that they don't even know like that there is a disconnect. Like they're so disconnected they don't even know that there's one there.
That's
oh my
real, dude.
gosh,
Damn.
like they have nothing on it. Like that's like when people start to talk bad about hunting. I'm like, you've never been out in nature in the middle of fucking nowhere, no cell service, like where you're like, God damn, if it's dark out right now, I'm fucked. Like I'm completely screwed. Like
Yeah, I'd much rather know exactly, like kill my own animal and eat it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're
it's
not
such an
able
art in a way.
if you're not able to like kill the animal that you eat on a regular basis,
Definitely.
like if you eat chicken but you wouldn't kill a chicken, you should be a vegan then, or you should just
You're never gonna survive on your own because
you would never survive.
And I feel like we always got to prepare for that no matter what.
For
like,
sure.
You know, I like deep shit. MK Ultra and stuff like that. Want to like, you know, control people to take over the world. Like, man, if you catch me on some like revolution type shit.
Dude, I'm moving to like a fucking woods and I'll
we're gonna set up a whole ass camp.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like boss and shit.
If the apocalypse comes, bro, I'm kicking it with you because I know you would fucking.
We're literally gonna survive.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna survive and thrive. Like that's
Exactly.
not like there's no question about it. Like man, that's just one of the scenarios you play out in your head. It's like, oh, I want that to happen. Just like I know exactly where I'm going first. Just like
And all these
guns or
all
whatever,
these
just
all these
materials.
vegans.
Like, oh man,
I'm not gonna. Oh my god, meat.
what are you gonna do with your
That's
Prius?
so bad.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, we won't even probably be able to drive when that shit happens.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
gas and whatnot. But
who
I mean,
knows? Yeah. There's gonna be
hopefully,
no
we never
gas.
had to deal with that, just because like, God, that'd just be terrible. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's gonna happen.
the world
eventually,
needs
though.
it, of course. Like, we definitely need like a great reset. Like, just
think
on
so?
this world. Oh, for sure. Like, everything needs to just be.
Just
like,
a comet, fucking just reset the earthquake.
I definitely think so too. But
Send
I mean,
the flood.
I don't want it to happen during my lifetime, but I mean, it has to happen sometime. Like,
Yeah.
we've used and abused this world. Like this, I literally saw the bumper sticker on the way in here was like, "Quit abusing our soil" or something like that. Quit treating our soil like dirt is what it is. And I'm like, I walked by that and I thought I was gonna say something. I just let it sit with me. I'm like, quit treating our soil like dirt. I'm like, bro, we do it. Like, we, you know, like think of how you, like people who don't farm or like see any aspect of like where their food comes from don't know how much like actual emissions and whatnot goes into the environment. Like all this chemical spray,
farming.
lime, like everything.
Yeah.
Like it's not so cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like,
What
healthy.
like did you actually? So you can basically run a farm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you
I'd
wanted
have to
to,
definitely learn like the financial aspect and stuff like that, and like there would be countless things I would have to pick up on. Like running a farm is so hard. Like just even like knowing your equipment and everything, you just gotta know like a general overview of like how everything works, like from a mechanical aspect, like from your machinery to parts and everything. Which my job has helped me like, you know, see in a fuller aspect, but like everything from finances and like how to use, you know, government to your advantage, like you wanted to claim for insurance if your crop didn't do good and everything like that, and like even just like what to plant, where to plant, and just what to do, like how to spend your time and like what to invest in, like because like there's people don't know that there's like freaking hundreds of different types of corns and stuff that you can grow that are used for different types of things, like biogases or foods, or like gets used for oils and stuff. Like nobody has like any clue about this stuff. That's where they just are, that disconnect. That's where I say that they don't even know that there's that much of a disconnect. Like,
and everyone's eating, like our farms, everyone eats from the farms. Like this is where the food comes from, but people just
and like it makes
go pull up to the drive-through at McDonald's. You know, they get their fucking hash browns. They don't know, you know, where the fucking potato to make the hash brown was grown. And
I'd love to see like what it went through and everything. Like
exactly, yeah. I think that's
disgusting. It actually is. Like
when I'm rich as fuck, bro. I think like I want to know where everything I put into my body comes from.
And
that's like a
that's
goal.
amazing. But
yeah,
I mean that's gonna be such a high level to reach. I mean that's something to strive for, really.
Yeah, and I mean shoot for the stars.
Oh
shoot.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can't ever set yourself like too short. You're just gonna.
No. You can never dream too small.
No.
Yeah.
If you do, you'll just stumble over those small dreams. Like you
Yeah.
gotta fucking jump over that shit. You gotta learn how to. You gotta learn how
Dream.
to jump. Like like my boss told me, grab the bull by the horns. Like, you literally need to learn, like, no matter what it is, like, even if you're so scared to conquer it, like, even just like getting started at something, just grab the bull by the horns, get your start, get your foot in the door, and then you can kind of see the greater aspect from there of how things might work out. You always have to be. I worked construction with my dad for as long as I can remember, just anytime like he needed help and everything like that, because he ran a construction company up until this last year of my life. I'm 20 years old now, so for the first 19 years of my life, I always felt like I was like kind of a crappier worker. Like when I was younger, I was just like standing around and whatnot, and I was like kind of felt bad for it because he'd always be like, "Hurry up," or just like, "Go get me this," you know, like, "The fuck are you moving so slow? Like, you know, you're costing us time."
Yeah.
And you know, I've like, I don't know if I felt bad about that or something, but I like asked my sister's boyfriend for advice, Matt, and this has stuck with me. Like, this was how many years ago? This was so many years ago, and I asked him this. Like, this was probably the first couple of years they've been dating, and they're together probably 5-6 years now.
Yeah, for a minute.
So, I mean, his advice he gave me, think about the whole entire process, okay? Like, think about and if you can't get the process, just think about what they're going to do next. Like, think about what they're going to have to do next. Okay, he's going to need the hammer because he's going to have to pound this freaking wall out if he wants to put this up. We got to get this wall out of here. So make sure to have that hammer ready for him because that's what he's going to ask for next.
Right.
Like, so once I got that piece of advice, you got to build on, like, even to hear like quotes like that and stuff, you have to be in the right mindset and everything just to hear it, because like our bodies are made up with, like, our brain has juices and everything. They have to be in the right spots to be able to really kind of just grab onto that quote and really take it and just hit the ground running. Like,
yeah,
you have to apply yourself and like your situation in your life in any way that you can to like quotes. Like, that's why quotes are important to me. I always thought like when I thought I would never like be on the type of mindset where I'd make a quote. Like, I was always like the kind of kid I was like, fucking make a quote. I was like, what kind of gay shit's that? Like, that was always kid shit. But but like when I started like really kind of finding like what I truly wanted to do, or like, you know, that this wasn't for me, like a quote came to me. And I was like, what the fuck? It caught me completely off guard. And it was just weird how it came to me. Because that was the first night I tried like writing stuff down and, you know, seeing where I would get, like, you know. What actually like came to me, I'm playing games and watching just funny YouTube videos. That's always, you know, you're just playing a game, that's dull.
Yeah.
Watch a YouTube video on the side, might as well. I always watch like funny YouTube videos just because. That one night I was bored, you know, what if I just put on an interesting YouTube video? 8-minute, it was like 8 or 9 minutes, and it was it was called like how to retrain your brain for success or whatever. And
that's the start, bro.
I knew this was a start because I'll sit there and watch how many just like YouTube videos, just funny shit, and just blow right past it, not even pay attention or see half of it. This fucking took me away from my game completely. I was rewinding every 15 seconds. Like, I would rewind it like 3 times, and I had to write half the shit down in that video. Like, that's where I found out writing even helps so much, just like getting the point across and like applying it to your life and everything and looking for that next like step. Like, write it down. That helped me with that. I wrote down half that fucking video just because there was so much useful stuff on there. And like midway through that, I looked at my last page and I noticed that it was blank. And I was like, you know, I've heard like rich people talk about before, like some advice that they give, always use both sides of the paper. I never did that. And I sat there and thought for a second, why the hell have I never used both sides of my paper? It's like, because then it just came to me. Like, quotes just come to you. Like, when you're thinking about a situation like that, it comes to you in quote form. Like, that's how it came to me, was I need to use the back of this page as notes or conclusion or anything to help me with my next page or my next chapter, and apply that to life and everything else and see where the fuck you can go. Grow, go, however. Like, I love to say hit the ground running, because it happens to me so often. I'll get that little bit of information or just like that extra push, and I'm going to fall flat on the freaking ground, just face flat on the ground. I'm going to get up and just start sprinting with it. Like, yeah. I did that with so many different things throughout my life, but that's the part of you hit the ground running. You have to keep the attention there. Like, because, yeah, I'll hit the ground running, but my problem is you got to, like, apply yourself after that. Like, you have to have meaning after that, because it's like, every kind of sort of way it's happened to me so far has helped me just kind of like find the next thing. It doesn't help me with like the broader view of how I need to bring it all together.
And I feel like with that, motivation is easy to find. Like, it's easy to be like motivated one day, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this.
Definitely. It is so like that. It's so up down. Like, and
But the
that's like
discipline is
yeah.
what gets it done
Yes.
in the long run.
And definitely. And that's where you need to, like, that's where I've learned, like, I don't have a lot of that discipline. And I think that's just how I was, like, I was raised on a farm and everything like that, but it didn't really matter how much discipline my parents were going to give me. I was always just kind of the way I was, like, they weren't going to stop me from doing what I wanted to do, pretty much. Like, a lot of the times that happened. And, like, yeah, that's disrespectful on some level, but, like, from what I was going through and shit, like, that's my life. Like, I'm living my life. Like, I definitely had plenty of, like, moments where I was like, God, I shouldn't have done that to, like, my parents, or, like, just shouldn't have said that. But, like, after that, it's just been, fuck, I lost it. God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, too, like, to bounce back to the point,
Yeah.
like, when you are disciplined, like, in what you do,
Yes.
like, it's gonna be probably
it shows through everything, because I mean that's what's got to hit it home, because like that's one of the things that I'm missing a lot, like, you know, showing up and everything, but a lot of the reasons that there's deeper meanings behind that too, like why I don't show up to work if I don't, like, I just feel stuck, I mean, in some of these places. And I mean that's where, you know, you got to listen to yourself a little bit and say, hey, something's not right here. I'm not supposed to feel like this. I'm supposed to be out living. I'm 20 years old. Like, that was kind of the kicker for me. Like, I always looked up as a kid, like, you know, 20 years old, out at the, you know, just going out, like, out at the college, you know, at the bar, hanging with your buds. I hit 20 years old about a month ago now, and I was depressed as shit on my birthday and stuff like that just after. I was like, I wasn't depressed on my birthday, per se. We drank the night before, but, like, coming home, like, day of my birthday and stuff, like the moods just weren't good. It was just blah. It's like, God, this is my 20th birthday. I was like, next year I turn 21. I was like, I don't even feel like it's gonna be that great. Like, it's like, you got to know that you're doing something wrong. Like, you got to listen to yourself.
I think it's important to, like, look at the trajectory of your life, like look at where you're going, and be confident in where you're going, what you're currently, because how do I fucking explain this in better? So it's important to look at where you're going and be
outlook. I mean, like, where you're at in life, whether like I mean, I'd say look at what you have, but you can't. That once you look at what you have, then you're gonna start comparing what you have to everybody else's.
I think like what you have now and where you're at now is a result of what you've done in the past. Yeah. And so you have to look at what you're gonna do in the future and where that's gonna lead you to. Yeah.
You got to find deeper meaning. You got to find you got to find deeper meaning in almost anything. And if something doesn't have deeper meaning, I almost dismiss it a little bit. Like, I've kind of just noticed that, like, if it doesn't have like a deeper meaning, I'll just like, eh.
Yeah. And I feel like the point of life is to find deeper meaning in things and always be
point of life is to just be all in one, connected, like mind, body, spirit, and just love life, like love waking up every day and like love living life, like
and learning and growing and experiencing different things. And that's the whole point, is to experience. Like, life is an experience. Every single day you experience.
Definitely. And like, you got to bend that experience, like, because like we love to say on this podcast, everything happens for a reason, because I mean, that's picked right out of my own brain. All right. Like, everything does happen for a reason. I believe it too. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people do. But if you look at everything, like everything happens for a reason, then everything kind of has to be set in its own place and like all right, if this happens, then this has to happen to react to that, because it happens for a reason. So then you kind of feel like you're a little preset, you know, like everything's kind of a little simulation. It's so weird to me, because I'll go back and forth. I almost feel more preset because like of reading energies, and like I'll have a lot of stuff like where I'll see things coming, or just like see things happen before they happen. And that's reading energy. You have
precognition.
That's knowing where something's going to happen. Like, and I feel like something that like helped me almost find that when I was a kid, like watching Scooby-Doo, you'll see a desk, and you'll see like 3 drawers, and one of them is discolored. All right, so something's going to come out of that freaking drawer. It's discolored from like the other ones. The other ones are just kind of set in place. But this one's like lighter because it's going to have some animation. And I feel like it was like searching for like that energy. Like, I don't know why, but I always felt like drawn to it. Like, that helps me almost see it in life more, like where energy is going to be. And it helps me find it through hunting a lot too. Like, so much. Like, when you start like getting connected on that next level, it'll happen in every aspect of your life with everything you do. Like, that's why it's like being spiritual is actually important. Like, it is, like, we all got spirits, like we all got souls.
Yes.
And it's real. Like, people who sell their souls are real. You see them online, they look like freaking AI now. Travis Scott looks like an AI, dog.
Bro, I feel like selling your soul, like the real meaning behind that is like giving up who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you can't give up who you are for what you want to be.
And I know that. Like, that's something I would never do, obviously. Like, because who I am, like, I know I'm a good person. Like, bottom line, like, just flat out bottom line, I'm a damn good person. I'm going to hold the fucking door open for you. I don't care if you're like 10 feet behind me. I'm going to just stand there, awkwardly hold the door open for you. And just like, you know, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to help you with shit that you don't expect to get help with and not ask for anything in return.
Yeah, bro, you are a good person, bro.
Like,
you're a really good
viewed as
person.
that.
Like,
And
not even. Let me say this quick.
Yeah.
Like, not even in the way of like I'm talking like holding doors for people, but I
Yeah.
know in like even as like a
morally
friend,
and like,
dude, you're like emotionally,
like that.
you're
Yeah.
like an
I'll
emotional.
get emotional about something. I'm such an emotional person, everything like that. And you can't. And I still look down on that to this day because that's a non-masculine trait or whatever. But it's so hard, like, as a kid and everything. Like, I'll be in like a serious conversation, I'll just have emotion starts. I'll just start bawling. Like, it's just emotion, and like I've never been able to just control it.
Bro, I think you're like an empath. That's what they call it. Like, you feel you feel
And
empathy strongly for like other people. Like, you can experience things how other people are experiencing them.
I was
going through
scrolling
them.
through something on Instagram today, and just it was one of those like Reddit feeds, like, you know, where they read the Reddit thread or whatever.
Yeah.
And this guy's talking about how he had this girlfriend at his house, and she had an old friend over, and it was like her ex, and they were like catching up or whatever. It was like, my heart was like breaking that whole time, dude. The whole time I'm watching this video, I'm just so sad. My heart's just like breaking into pieces. I'm like, man, because I put myself in those shoes. If you want to see people, if you want to feel like, I don't even think if you want to, if I feel like to even get a point across or understand someone else's point of view, there's no way that you can do that without putting yourself in their shoes, from what they've had to go through, what they had to do, and I mean, just their life. Like, if you don't put yourself in their shoes, then you're not going to see it how they do, obviously. You're going to look at it from your point of view, which is why there was a problem in the first place.
Yeah, and I think it's also understanding that you're not able to understand something as someone else experiences it, because you only experience your life through you. You can't be someone else.
But you control how you experience your life. Back to that, like, back to the simulation thing. We create reality as it's like going, like, you know, all right, a second just passed. What did I decide to do? I decided to like go like this with my arm.
Right.
Like, I'm creating reality. Like, reality is at my fingertips to create. Like, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so hard to feel like we're trapped in the simulation as somewhat, but
Because you have control.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, with back to like energy,
yeah,
bro, like if I say like I'm gonna have a good day
you
today,
feel you have control, but you feel there's a deeper meaning that also steers you in the lane that you're supposed to be in. And if you're not listening to it, then like, that's not
that.
being
I like
connected
that.
mind and body. Like, that's
There
how
is
I
something
knew.
that steers you
There
into.
definitely is something. And that's how I know that there's a greater power out there, because there's something that keeps you on that track. And if you're off that track, then you're going to be hating life. You're going to be in the fucking dumps. That's why you got to be connected mind and body and everything.
Exactly. It's really important to be in sync. And I feel
Yes.
like you'll feel like depressed. You'll feel like you'll physically feel
Yes.
like not good if you're not in sync with what like your higher power
I've felt that
has
way
meant for
countless
you.
times, and like, you just gotta get it. I mean, you gotta. Meditation is like even like how I found it without even really realizing it was just spending time out in the woods, like, alone. Like, it was so spiritual. Like, even I viewed, like, back then I used to be like kind of against religion and everything. I went to a Catholic school, and they always just like pushed it on you, you know. And it was like different. Like my religion teacher talking about her adopted son or whatever. She's like, my son is not my son. He's God's son. I'm guiding him to heaven. It's like, all right, you're fucking crazy. Right?
I think those type of people have good intentions, though.
They definitely have good intentions. It's just...
It's from their experience, though.
It's their experience, but, like, that's not how you, like, push it into kids, like, you know, like, force it down on them. That's where you have to, like, tell the kid, hey, you know, you got to go home and find this within yourself, whether it's, like, think about things you love and, like, that have a deeper meaning to you. And, like, really think about, like, when you're doing that, how you feel, how it makes you feel. Whether it's shooting hoops, whether it's hunting, like if it brings you that inner peace, if it makes you want to be better, those are things that you're supposed to be doing. These are your callings in life. Like that is hunting.
I think
for
everyone
me.
does have a calling.
Oh,
yeah.
of course. Like there's no reason that anybody's put here just for no reason. And if you feel like you don't have a reason, then you've lost yourself for sure along this road of life. And that's where you need to get back on that track and find yourself and through any way you can, whether it's therapy, throwing ideas up that to where she can connect them for you or your therapist can connect them for you. Like, because that was one of the problems I had. Like, part of the reason I even started going to therapy was just so I could have someone connect some dots for me. Mm-hmm. And once that started happening, I'm connecting half the dots on my own, like, before it even comes out. Like, I'll start explaining it and connect the dot within my explanation as it's coming out, like, reading it or, like, saying it to my therapist and everything. Yeah. Like, people say that therapy is just like, oh, I pay you for, like, an hour to care about me, and then, like, the next person comes in and, like, you don't care about me because you got to care about them. Like you're paid to care about them. You can't look at it that way. You got to look at it like, all right, here's someone that has like, you know, that listens to problems all day long. Like just start explaining your life and what bothers you to them and whatnot. And like they'll connect some deeper meaning, whether it's like emotions that have kind of like felt like not there. Like one of the things I set up to her was like that bullet incident where it like flew past my head. Like I didn't realize how much that screwed me up for a while. Like, oh my God, I'd bawl some nights. Like I was just like so depressed. I felt like I was not supposed to be here. Like I still don't feel that way. But like a few weeks ago, like before I hit you up was like really right before I texted you about like how the podcast kind of hit home for me. Now it kind of started changing me. Was really like I just felt so wrong. Everything felt so wrong. I did not feel like I was supposed to be waking up. I did not feel like I was supposed to be here. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be like doing that. And I knew that that's like obviously not supposed to be like that, and that's depression, that's mental health, that's like you need to be better and like, you know, start taking some baby steps to get back on that right track.
That's real.
And I mean, it just really helps connect those dots. Like,
yeah, bro, talking things out loud.
Saying anything out loud.
Bro,
yes.
I feel like everyone's a verbal thinker.
Yes.
Like, bro, when I talk things out loud.
I'll talk to myself all the time just because I'm the realest motherfucker I know. Like, you can't, I mean, you know, run it by myself. Or, like,
How to Be Rich podcast. Quote. He said, I talk to myself all day long because I'm the realest motherfucker I know. I'm writing that shit down.
Dude, you gotta.
Oh my God, that's hard as fuck.
It's like,
this has been a great podcast.
It's been awesome, man. I'm so glad you had me on here and everything. Can't wait to see the cities a little bit more and just
yeah, bro. We're about to go turn up, bro. Don't even
love it.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the How to Be Rich podcast, rich in health, wealth, and everything else dealing with the self. Thanks, Jordan, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
And we're out of here. Peace.
Peace. Love y'all.